Hello. I'm going to comment on two videos and just talk about what objectivism is in my opinion. First off, I want to say that I do fully agree with Ayn Rand with everything I've read so far. And I think that when people read some of her ideas and they decide that they don't agree with it, uh, I suggest looking at why they don't agree with it, what her ideas are, and then going down systematically to the concepts that those ideas and the premises that those ideas are based upon. Um, and I also think that just like I quote Leonard Peikoff, who said that if you don't, that you shouldn't call yourself an objectivist if you don't agree with Ayn Rand's ideas, because he said, tell yourself the exact truth that you agree with certain ideas of Ayn Rand, but reject objectivism, because there is a difference between just agreeing with something someone says and actually being an objectivist. And this is just because I was reading about David Kelly and he bothers me. So, Uh, oh, and as Ayn Rand said, whenever you think you're facing a contradiction, check your premises, and you will find that one of them is wrong. So if you're confused about some of the opinions, I suggest that you start breaking them down into the concepts and what makes those concepts, and then until you arrive to like the basic premise, which is primacy of consciousness or of existence, and just like work your way down from there and see what it is that confuses you. And so, like also when a lot of people say that they don't agree with certain aspects of Ayn Rand or of her personal life, um, I don't see how you could say that, because Ayn Rand didn't build a philosophy based on opinions, based on like her whims, like, oh yeah, I kind of feel like this is true, so I'm going to do this. And in her personal life, she wasn't like that either. She demanded a very strict um, morality of herself, just as she states in her books, and she actually lived out her ideas. And the thing that she said was the worst sin, like she doesn't believe in like biblical original sin and all that, but she did talk about that if they're like using that concept of sin, um the worst one would be the refusal to think. And so she didn't do that. She didn't just, yeah, well, you should read more about her. I'm so tired right now. I'm trying to have coffee, but it's not working. uh so to quote something Ellie said in her video, she said, we like to think, just to clarify, we like to think of ourselves as really compassionate and just that, like we can change the world and we can feed the poor and the homeless, and that we can do good things for other people, and if we don't do it all the time, we're bad. She was like saying that that's what people say. But I think that the first thing we have to look at or think about is what is good, like according to the objectivist philosophy. Because if we're going to say that, if we're going to accept uh, people denouncing objectivists as not being good because we're not sacrificing our own our ourselves, basically, I think first we need to define what is good. And we can't accept people calling, like Ellie said, that Ayn Rand is a selfish bitch. And you see, that's not accurate, because you can't take their morality, like people who aren't objectivists or haven't learned about it yet or don't agree with it fully or have not been exposed to it, you can't take the general morality and then apply their terms um, to ourselves. For example, in the more, I guess, the more common, the more prevalent morality of now is that if you're not aiming to be Mother Teresa, then you are a bad person. And I think that you can't take that and then apply it to objectivism, because if you're going to define objectivists, or any philosophy, you should define it by their terms. So I didn't agree with that. Just clarifying things here. Um, Oh, and then also Ellie said that she gives money to the homeless, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't think that, like, you should, Ellie, justify yourself is like, oh, I'm not selfish or I'm not a bitch because I do give money to the homeless. It's like you have no reason to have to justify yourself by the terms of a morality that we know to be wrong because we've read and informed ourselves. And also, I was watching what was I watching? I was watching the video, the strengths and weaknesses of objectivism, and I think it's a really good video. I think it's a very comprehensive view about it, and it brings up many misconceptions that people have, and it explains objectivism well. But I think that it's like, I don't know. I think it's a sort of apology for being objectivist and for looking at life through reason, because it's saying that it's like backing off, and it's like saying, but I'm not that zealous about it, and I'm not like, and I don't hold the ideas too strongly, so don't criticize me too much because I'm not really an objectivist. And it's like, I'm just trying to learn things, and it's like an apology, which I don't think it should be. And it was like praising David Kelly, which Leonard Peikoff, the intellectual heir of Ayn Rand, like you can't just say that you agree with objectivism and then denounce Ayn Rand because she was objectivism, and she designed Leonard Peikoff as her intellectual heir, so Leonard Peikoff is objectivism. So like these are the people who made it. These are the people who have constructed the whole objectivist theory, so you can't, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I want to read this that Leonard Peikoff says regarding David Kelly, because David Kelly has already been, like, ostracized, like he said, not necessarily, but it's just that, like, if you hold wrong ideas that rest on false premises, you can't expect that people will agree with you. So, okay. I'm going to read this by Leonard Peikoff. He said, the fundamental issue raised by Kelly concerns the relationship between the good and the true. What kind of thing, Kelly asks, can be true or false? What kind, good and evil? In other words, my words, what is the relationship between fact and value? Kelly takes a definite stand on the issue, one which leads him logically to uphold tolerance as a virtue of the cognitive realm, and to accuse Schwartz and others like him, myself and Ayn Rand presumably included, of zealotry, hysteria, non-intellectuality, malevolence, close-mindedness, and the like. Let me begin by summarizing without reference to Kelly the essence of the objectivist view on the relationship between fact and value. Objectivism holds that value is objective, not intrinsic or subjective. Value is based on and derives from the facts of reality. It does not derive from mystic authority or from whim, personal or social, or opinions. Reality, we hold, along with the decision to remain in it, i.e. to stay alive, dictates and demands an entire code of values. Unlike the lower species, man does not pursue the proper values automatically. He must discover and choose them, but this does not imply subjectivism. That's very important. Every proper value judgment is the identification of fact. A given object or action advances man's life, it is good, or it threatens man's life, it is bad or evil. The good, therefore, is a species of the true. It is a form of recognizing reality. The evil is a species of the false. It's very important. It is a form of contradicting reality, or values are a type of facts. They are facts considered in relation to the choice to live. And then it keeps going. It's a really great essay. Let me get the title for you. It's on AynRand.org. It's called Fact and Value by Leonard Peikoff, and it was published in 1989. So you should read that. It's long, but I just read you a paragraph. So I think this is what people get most. This has been like the schism between objectivists, because they divorce fact from value. Like they think that there are things that are just true, and that like the basic principles of objectivism, and that then you can like just differ on the little nuances, which is not the case, because if it follows objectively, it follows logically, that from looking at reality, you logically form these value judgments, and supposedly these value judgments should be your opinions. For example, if you look at, say, the government, and you think about mankind, and you think about, you look objectively at reality, and then you can figure out for yourself what kind of government should follow, what kind of government does follow the laws of reality, and what kind of government would benefit man, qua man. And so you can't like be like, oh yeah, I like objectivism and I believe um in looking at facts and reality and all these wonderful things that objectivism says, and then say, but I believe in socialism and that's just my opinion, and it bothers me that people don't consider me a real objectivist because I don't agree with Ayn Rand in this one issue. So that just doesn't work, because you can't divorce fact um, from value. You can't divorce good from true. So that was my 2 cents. I wasn't going to make this video because I was tired, but I did. You're welcome. And here were my notes that I took. I followed the student of Objectivism's advice, and I'm now taking notes on things. And I will also, this is like the quality of video you can come to expect, a little better because I will have planned things out more, but I don't want to do those late night rants anymore because that doesn't work for me. And I want this to have like a more professional air. And most of the things that I'm going to be saying are going to be, I'm going to read them from objectivist authorities. I'm not just going to expound my opinions onto you. And if I do expound my opinions onto you, I will give you reasons for that, because that's what Ayn Rand used to do whenever she would talk to acquaintances or explain her philosophy to people. She would always give reasons for every opinion she held. So I will follow in her logical footsteps, and I hope you liked the video. Please give me feedback into what you prefer, because, I mean, as long as I get to define my ideas more clearly by talking about them, it helps me. So whichever format you prefer, that's cool. And have a productive day, as I will. I'm going to look at this really inspirational video, which is like, I always look at it to get me in the groove of homework. And oh, by the way, you guys, just like a couple days ago, I got notified that I just got a full tuition scholarship to a university, so yay me! Okay. So I suggest you go to AynRand.org, read lots of things. I always listen to lectures on there by her, and it's all good. If you have a question, I suggest that you email Leonard Peikoff at his website, and he answers them every week. Listen to his podcasts. What else? Check yourpremises.org. Her books, her writing, form your own opinions. Back them up with facts if you want to be sure about what you're talking about. And I hope you all have a productive day. Goodbye.